Okay, so today I'm trying to recreate a pour that I did a few months ago that I thought it was extremely beautiful. And I gifted it to a friend, which I'm happy about because it's on someone's wall making them happy. But I loved it so much, I've been thinking I want to try to redo it. And if you do fluid art, you know that you can never really recreate anything. It never looks the same, it always comes out differently. So having said that, it will be a loose variation of a previous painting. And what I'm going to try to do is a multiple, it's a dirty pour with multiple puddles. And then kind of mix the puddles around and see what happens. Not everybody does this. I've pre-painted. This is wet fluid acrylic already on the board. You don't have to do that with the flip cup or the dirty pours, but I like to do it because I like to have some white left in the background. I also think that the paint moves better over a base. So anyway, I'll just go over the paints that I'm using since I prepped everything before starting this. I won't be working on it. So a bunch of the colors that I use are actually from Primal Flow, and they're premixed paints specifically for pouring. And I love these because I can just pour them straight out of the bottle onto the canvas. I use their titanium white for base. And then I'll show you I have my dirty pour cup already filled, and I did 2 layers. So I did 2 sets of paint on top of each other to get enough paint to cover this canvas, which is a 12 by 12 with a 1.5 inch sides or depth. So I'm using a few of the Primal Flows and then a couple of golden fluid acrylics, which are really inky. And what I've done is mixed those with Floetrol and a little bit of water and a little bit of pour oil here. And these, you actually mix them with Floetrol, sorry, to thicken them up, not thin them, because they're so watery. Anyway, so I'll tell you the colors. It's kind of an ocean theme with a little something else going on in it. This is the golden fluid acrylic, very fluid acrylic, and this is phthalo turquoise. And this one is a strange mixture of a couple of different paints that I just had barely any left. Phthalo blue with a green shade hue to it, and manganese blue, and a little bit of white. I mix that together, it's kind of an oceany color. Then we've got from Primal Flow the sea foam, one of my very favorites, and silver fox, also a favorite. Shimmer black, and to top it off, the magenta, which is a very bright pink. Just a little bit of that in the cup. Anyway, so here's the cup that I have. I have already used my torch on this to try to get any bubbles out. And then I'm gonna try and go ahead and do this. I think I'm gonna try to do 5 puddles. And then we'll do some other things too. This is not how I did it last time. Last time I actually poured, I flip cupped it. But this time we're gonna do something a little different and just see what happens. And I'm being really messy because I don't want it to look like I planned any sort of look here, because I didn't. All right, so we've got all of these. This one's kind of meh. Looks like we're put a little more in there. A little bit more here maybe so we can get some pink. As you can see, I'm not planning this at all. All right, so we've got that going, and now I'm gonna use my torch to get the bubbles out. I think I'm actually out of, oh, no, I'm not. My torch is just being unhappy. All right, so I'm getting the bubbles out of these. And then what I think that I want to do is use this white. Oops, I forgot a color in here. This was another one of the colors in that mixture. It's Voyage Blue by Primal, hanging out over there all by itself. I'm gonna take a little bit of white. I'm gonna actually, I'm pouring from a giant jug, and I don't really wanna have like a giant puddle of white that looks weird, so I'm just gonna use my stir stick here. My stir stick. I might be able to pour it elsewhere, but we'll see. Oh, I'm just gonna go for it. Living life on the edge once again here. I think I got it. There we go. So I just want to make sure that these are gonna stay a little bit separated when I go to turn the canvas around. I'm also putting just a little extra white just to kind of help it move around, move the puddles around. So far, I love these colors, but we'll see what happens. And like I said, we're not going to be unhappy if it doesn't turn out like the last one. But we're going to do our best to kind of make this oceany. How funny that the circles kind of disappeared, but I'm kind of liking what it's doing already. This one looks like it's not wanting to stretch so much there at the top, so we're gonna bring it down. I hope you can see that. I'm kind of messing with my camera angles lately and my space. I've been working in a different part of the house for the last couple weeks. So now I'm back down in what I like to call my studio, which is really a basement landing room that I keep all my paint in. And it has workout equipment and some laundry and printers and all of that, but it's the perfect size for me to have a work table and everything without having a room. All right, so if you'll notice, I didn't put any extra white down here, and this paint does not want to move. It is just like, no, I'm not going that way, but I'm gonna make it because I want some of it to go over the side to make those pretty colors go over the edges. And I'm gonna bring it back down and stretch it this way. Okay, so what I will say is it looks nothing like the one I was wanting to recreate, but it's super pretty even so. I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, right? Had I gone into it thinking I would be able to do that, that wouldn't have been very wise, as we know. All right, so here we are, and I'm painty, of course. So you see these bubbles forming. That is all created from the oils and the paints. And I use that special pour oil because it doesn't actually leave any residue after the paint dries. You would never know there's oil in these. You don't need to wipe anything off. You can just go straight to varnishing. I don't do a lot of, I do a protective cover, but I don't do a lot of, oh, this guy is just not wanting to help me out today. Here we go, come on. Oh, well, you know the concept of using the torch. So what the torch does, if you haven't seen a pour video before or seen anyone do it in real life, the torch takes the air pockets out of the painting, and what happens is these really cool bubbles form that we call cells, and you can see them forming in lots of different areas, and you can actually kind of tell which paints, this blue paint and that turquoise paint both had that oil in it. I'm in there, they're working hard here. Yep. Oh, there we go. I have a little left. Just gonna try to get a couple bubbles out here that I can see. I ran out of gas in a video. All right, well that's it. I actually think this is really beautiful, and it is almost, it almost makes me as happy as the one I was trying to recreate. The only thing I can say is the pink pretty much went away except for a little tiny bit, and but I love the mixture of colors, and I didn't have to do any tweaking, which I have been doing a lot of lately. I've had some sort of block going on. And I started reading the, I forget the name of the book now, but it is, I'll put it in the description. A book about meditative art and how you can stop your block. And now that I'm doing my first paint since I started reading it, I'm thinking maybe it's, right on. So there you go. Have a good afternoon. Thanks. Bye-bye.